How's everybody doing out there? So, I want to talk about something that's happened to me just the other night. So, everybody knows that I do deliveries. I drive around everywhere, drop food off, groceries, and other things. Well, so a lot of people, I really haven't said much about this, but when I'm out, there's all different kinds of people. There's nice people, there's rude people, and I was at the store once, and this rude person had pushed their way to the self-checkout. They hit me, bumped into me hard, and I turned around and I looked, and it was some guy. And then I want to say a couple weeks back, it was actually a nice day out. I pulled into a gas station, I got gas, and then I circled around this way, and I was about to go out of the parking lot and make a turn to get back on the street. And this guy cuts me off and gets right in front of me, and he turns around and he flicks me off. And I seen his face. I saw him in the rearview mirror, and I saw him when he went past me. And then last night I decided to do deliveries a little bit later, stay out later, and I was on my last delivery. And there is a very small town which is right next to where I live, on the same street actually, and there's only one stoplight in that town. And I'm driving and I get to the stoplight and it's green, so I go through it. And I want to say a little over a half a mile right at the street that I'm supposed to turn on to deliver the food to the people, I see in my rearview mirror there's a car coming up real close behind me like this and darting real fast. So it's one lane and one lane, but there's a shoulder on both sides, and the shoulder's wide enough for you to pull over. So I slow down and I pull over, and as soon as I did that, the guy turned the lights on, and it was a police officer. So I'm like wondering why he pulled me over, especially there where it was complete darkness. The only thing I could see was my phone and my dash lights. And I grabbed my phone and I turned off the GPS. I exited out of it, and I put it back. I turned my camera on, and but for some reason I had my Bluetooth in, and when I touched my Bluetooth, it shut the camera off on accident. I don't know why. And it took about 1 or 2 minutes for the cop to get out of his car. And so I couldn't see anything. The phone was off and only had my dash lights on. And turning on the dome light doesn't do anything because he was shining that real bright light into my car. And I had a big, huge red Grubhub bag in the back with white letters that say GH for Grubhub. And I had another one in the front seat, and I had a whole bunch of drinks too. Just four large drinks about that size, huge. And so he walks up to my car, and I could see only a black image of him getting out. He opened the door, and it cast a shadow on me. And then he gets out and he closes the door. And when he gets out, I can already see him do this. And he puts his pistol in front of him, so that way I couldn't see whether he had his gun out on him or not. So as soon as he did that, this noise went off in my head, and it was like a droning, constant buzzing noise. And I saw him get close to the back end of my car, and he put his weapon down like this, and he put it like that, but he still had it unlocked. And instead of walking up to my window, the driver's door, he stood back a good foot to 2 feet and stayed by the back window. And he said, how you doing? And I said, I'm doing all right. How about you? And he said, what's going on? He's like, he kept stuttering. And I said, right before I said, why'd you pull me over? He said, do you know why I pulled you over? And I said, well, I have several guesses why you did, but I'm not gonna say them. And then I said, why are you standing by my back door? I can't see you. And he said, well, you really actually don't need to see me. I said, yes, I do. So you need to step forward because I can barely hear you either. And he stepped forward just a tiny bit. He actually was like my door window was right at the back of my head. And he put his face like right about here and he looked straight. He did not look into my car. Well, he used his eyes and he didn't turn his head. And he said, I pulled you over because you went through the stoplight. And I said, are you sure about that? Do you have me on camera? He said, no, but I saw you. I said, okay, and he's like, do you have your registration and driver's license? And this whole time I had my hands up like this, and he goes, you can put your hands down, relax, take a deep breath. I said, I'm not gonna relax and I'm not gonna take a deep breath because once I give you my information, you're gonna go back to your car and you're gonna write me a ticket because it's your word against mine. I know how this goes. I grew up in Chicago and I've seen you before in Rockford. I've actually seen you just recently. You don't remember me, but I remember you. So I give him my insurance, my registration and my license. He said he'll come back for the insurance. He comes back and he's standing real close to not real close to my window, but the back window. And he's kind of like trying to hurry up so I don't ask him any questions and I don't say anything to him. And because that's how they make money. That's how he's getting paid $120,000 a year is by pulling people over in the middle of the dark. It was complete darkness. Once my phone went out and I could only see my dash lights, which are green, I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face until he turned the light on. And then I couldn't see anything because I was completely blinded. Because if you have tinted windows and somebody shines a super bright light in your windows, you can't see out of the windows. And he did that on purpose. They all do that on purpose. But I literally thought that the moment he got out of his car and I saw him pull his hand up like this and then he put his pistol in front, so that way I couldn't see that he had his gun drawn on me, that I thought this was going to be a private execution, that he was going to kill me, literally. I've never felt that way before from other cops, other police officers in Chicago, in New York, in the airport, the Cook County sheriffs, the sheriffs in Las Vegas, the police in Florida, the police in New Jersey, the police in Georgia, Tennessee, all the other states that I've been in. And even some of the whitest cops and some of the blackest cops, never once ever had a sense of that. But when this guy got out of his car, the first thing that I thought was, I might lose my life. And I was armed at the time. So I had to make a decision in my mind. I had stuff that I had to deliver, which was right around the corner. And I knew right away from the way that he was talking that he was not going to let me go. He was not going to say, hey man, I know you're doing deliveries and maybe you did go through the light or maybe you didn't. I don't really know, but I'm pulling you over just to check and see who you are. Even though this officer has seen me out in public and out of uniform, and he's seen me drive up and down these streets all the time. And as a matter of fact, I saw him a couple blocks away from my house when I was walking my dog And I just walked past, and I had my headphones on, and I took my headphone out, and I looked at him, and he made a very rude remark to me, and I told him, I said something back to him. I probably should have used different words, but what he said to me was inappropriate for somebody who is in law enforcement. He called me a fucking spig, and he said, get the fuck out of here. He should never have said that. And I called him a bunch of other names, some in English, some in Spanish, and then I put my headphone in and I walked off. I know I probably shouldn't have said anything. I probably should have just, not said anything at all and just walked past, and then I saw him later on, about a year later or so, and I saw him at the store, and he rammed his way through the checkout line and self-checkout, and he was looking around and doing like this because, he thought he's a big guy. He's huge. He's big. He's bigger than me, but that doesn't matter. And then I saw him again when he cut me off and he flicked me off. And from those times until now, he's seen me at least 20 or 30 times driving, doing deliveries. I got bags and drinks and stuff like that, or groceries or whatever. And he sees me because he's not a regular town cop. He's actually a deputy, so he can go in the whole county. He can drive around wherever he wants. And, I still support the police. I still think that we need them. And I think that taking them away would be a bad thing. But there's a lot, I know this from experience, that there's a lot of corruption, a ton of corruption. I'm not going to say all the things that I've actually gone through with the police. I'm not going to go through all that because it's going to be a long thing, but I've been wronged more than I've been wronged more by the police than where they've actually done something for me, or have protected and served me. I've had more times been wronged by the police than been vindicated or absolution, whatever you want to call it. And at night, when you're driving and you have tinted windows and your car is dirty and it's a little junky and you're Hispanic and the police officer knows you and they all of a sudden pull you over and say you did something, but when you ask for the evidence, they say they don't have it, but they're not going to give it to you, and they just automatically take your stuff from you, your information, and then write you a ticket. That way you have to go to court, and it's probably buck early in the morning, which is typical. And so I had a decision to make. Do I want to argue with this guy who's got, he had at least, I want to say, 7 or 8 extra clips on him. He had a whole bunch of other tactical stuff. He had a baton. He had a knife. He had these gloves, they're called sap gloves. And he had them, and I could tell, so if he hits you one time, boom, he knocked you right out with a jab, because they're very tough gloves, or they'll break your skin open. And those are for like if you ever have to break a window or anything like that. And so I knew that, and all he had to do was just either get on the radio and get some people there, to back him up, or he would have just shot me. Because I don't think that he didn't have a taser on him, so I didn't see one, but he might have had a taser on him. So I had to make a decision. Do I argue with this guy, or do I just take the ticket, go deliver the food, and be on my way? And I had to do that in a split second. And that's exactly what I did. And I just said to myself, I'm gonna go drop the food off and then I'm gonna leave. And he's gonna sit there in the parking lot and he's gonna do his little paperwork, his little computer work saying that he pulled me over for this. And you know, he's gonna get kudos from the police department and they're gonna get their money, you know, and they're gonna be able to stay in business. Because that's basically what it after a while, it started boiling down like, oh, okay, this is the avenue for revenue, you know, because nobody comes through here. So he picks on somebody that he's seen probably over 50 times, and he knows that I'm a delivery driver, and he knows that I drive over there all the time, and he pulls me over for some bogus crap that I never really did, and because he knows that I'm not going to go to court, he knows that I'm not going to fight it. He knows that I'm not going to go and file a complaint, because if I did, then you don't know who he's connected to. He might be connected to code enforcement. He might be connected to a hacker. He might be connected to somebody at a bank. And then you have to worry about, this guy knows where you live. He'll come to your house. He'll stalk you. He'll stalk your girlfriend. He'll stalk your kids. He'll stalk you, whatever he can do, and he can get away with it because he's a police officer. They aren't going to think twice about it. And that's the problem. Their power is legitimized, and we have no power. You know, all you can do is just file paperwork and get an attorney, but in the meantime, they can ruin your whole life. And do I want to do that over a traffic ticket? No. But what did it affect me? What happened last night? Yeah, it did. I was up all night. It affected me. I literally was looking out my windows. This guy was going to come to my house, and then I've been in my house the whole day, and I haven't gone anywhere, because every time I think about going in my car, I'm like, oh man, this guy's going to pull me over. He's looking for me. Then he gives my information out to his buddies, and then they'll start looking for me, or they'll see my car. Hey, that's that guy, we pulled him over. We're gonna keep pulling him over and tacking on tickets and messing with them, you know? And that's what I wanna avoid, is that type of stuff like that. However though, if this ever does happen again with this same person, because I will have to take action. Because I know for a fact, and I know that other people that have been around me have said the same thing about this guy, that he's done that to them too. And I'm thinking, okay, so now he's got like a list of people that he picks on, and he picks and chooses who he wants to do this to. And that's what a lot of police do. And I know there's a lot of police out there who are going to disagree and jump up and say, that's not us and we don't do that. That's a lie, because I grew up in Cook County and its nickname is Crook County, and the police they will rob you if they can, or they'll beat you up and they'll drop you off in another neighborhood, and there won't be anything you can do about it. It's been done, it's happening now, and it's probably going to continue to happen. There are some bad cops out there, and there's actually a lot more that we don't know about, because the police union protects the whole entire union, so that means they protect all the bad cops too. And it's up to the police to flush them out, not the public. But what can you do? So anyways, I mean, it is what it is. You know, you got to live with this type of stuff, but you don't have to. I'm not going to sit here and live in fear that the police are going to come over here to my house and start popping caps at me or pull me over every single time I go out the door. So with that being said, you know, everybody just be careful, you know, drive legal, which I do. You know, don't do anything sudden movements when you get pulled over. Turn your inside light on when you get pulled over, and keep your hands on the wheel, especially if you're, you know, if you're a man, you look intimidating, you know what I mean? They automatically assume you're a threat, just to stay alive, okay? because right now, with all the tension, I could feel the tension between him and I. He was afraid of me, I could tell, you know, and I actually thought for a good 30 seconds span of time that I was gonna lose my life. I literally thought that. And that's never happened to me before, but with all the tension that's been happening with the police and everything, that's exactly how I felt. And I can't change it. And now my viewpoint about with the police and law enforcement and the court system and the justice system has changed. It's altered now. And I have to reassess the way that I think about these things. So with that being said, I'm actually got to go. I'm actually going to go out for the first time today. So everybody, take care of yourself. Watch out. Don't let anybody take advantage of you. And if you have a camera and you get pulled over, use it and make sure you voice your opinion and voice yourself when you get pulled over if you feel it's unlawful. So with that being said, everyone take it easy, and I'll talk to you later.